Hey guys, Level Cap here, and today I'd like to give you some pro tips for the Battlefield 1 beta. If you're just getting into it, or if you're getting into the beta tomorrow, there's some pretty good stuff you might want to check out. Not only will it give you a leg up on your competition, but there's some really fun gadgets in the game that you're not going to want to miss. First and foremost are the locations of the super weapons. My personal favorite is the Flamethrower. Excellent in close quarter combat. Be careful not to burn yourself. This one is located on B flag in a crate, fairly easy to find. If it's already been taken by somebody else, you'll just find an empty crate and you'll have to wait for it to respawn. Second is the armored soldier holding the MG08 machine gun. This one is available on F point. It gives you a little bit more range than the flamethrower and a lot of hit points. Remember that these super classes also recharge their health, so make sure to hide and recharge that health after engagements. And then way down at the bottom of the map on E point, should you choose the venture that fires the Tank of Air anti-tank rifle. These power-ups can be used quite effectively, but just remember, you're not a god when you have them, and you can be taken out by a good player. Alright, now there's also a bunch of new loadout configurations for both the aircraft and tanks in the game. There's a few of them that are particularly good, and I would recommend trying out first. The first one is for the fighter plane. If you like flying around but also engaging ground targets, get the Bomber Killer setup. This one comes with rockets that can do massive damage to bombers, but also ground targets, and it gives the fighter plane a bit more options in terms of what kind of targets it can fight against. It also makes it incredibly effective at strafing the terrain. If you're a fan of the two-seater attack plane, then I would recommend checking out the Tank Hunter configuration, as that gives you a very powerful cannon on the plane that can now take out lightly armored vehicles, heavily armored vehicles. It can single shot people on horses. It's a lot of fun to try this new configuration out, and it gives you a few more options. Now perhaps you want to stay a bit more grounded and try out some of the new tank configurations. Unfortunately, I still think the standard configuration for the light tank is one of the best, although you're welcome to try out the other configurations. One of the cool new configurations is the Tank Hunter Landship. This one gives the driver an anti-tank rifle, so now 3 weapons on the Tank Hunter Landship can take out armor targets. It makes it incredibly good at taking out not only other tanks, but it can also do massive damage to the armored train, even from extreme distances. And then of course there is the artillery truck. This artillery truck can be configured as an anti-air truck, although I would recommend it in its default setting. It has the longest range cannon that I've seen in the game so far, and can absolutely obliterate armor before they're even in range to deal any damage to you. Be careful though, because this truck doesn't have as much armor as a standard tank, and you can be taken out by even a good recon class with K bullets that manages to sneak up on you. Now there's also been some cool new gadgets added to the game. The medic now gets a rifle fired grenade, and this grenade can either be an anti-vehicle grenade, anti-infantry grenade, or a smoke grenade. I recommend trying out the smoke grenade in the rush game mode, as it'll provide you with much needed cover in some of the big, more wide open areas of the map. The assault class also gets 2 more explosive options. You now have TNT, which is much like C4 was in previous Battlefield games, although it does not stick to objects, so it can be tricky to use against vehicles. And you also have anti-vehicle mines. And as much fun as it can be to try out the new gadgets, I would always recommend running with at least 1 AT rocket gun on your person, as it's the only weapon available to fight armor targets at further ranges, and good tank drivers won't let you get close enough to use your TNT or anti-tank grenades. Now in addition to the infantry deployable mine, there are several tanks that can deploy mines as well. If your team seems like they're dominating and you know the enemy team is going to get that armored train, put those mines on the train track. The driver cannot see the mines based on where he's sitting, and he will run them over, and it's an incredibly effective way to take down the health on that train very quickly. When it comes to fighting the train, the AT rocket gun is again one of the best infantry weapons against it. Tanks can absolutely shell it from long range. The artillery truck is a great weapon against the armored train because of its range. Aircraft can also do good damage to the train on strafing runs, but be careful, as the anti-air gun on the train is incredibly powerful and will absolutely obliterate you in one single pass. Now if you happen to spawn in the train driver seat and you're having fun shelling people with the artillery cannon, be very mindful of where the train's position is on the map. If you're not capturing a point, maybe you should think about moving onto a point to capture, as the train itself is incredibly valuable for pushing onto objectives and turning the tide of the game. Now because Sinai Desert is the new biggest map in Battlefield's history, you might want to watch out for the long range players. We got snipers, we got tanks, we got aircraft, lots of stuff that can damage you from afar. If If you don't want to deal with that long-range combat, you like your CQB assaulter class with a shotgun combat, stick to the city area of the map. I would recommend alternating between B point, C point, and F point. D point can also be good as well, but it's a little bit more exposed. These points will allow you to get up close and personal to your enemies and not have to deal as much with sniper fire. That being said, you're still bound to run into a lot of long-range players, and beware of the rooftops in the city as they're excellent camping spots. Now, riding around on the horse is a lot of fun, but it also makes you a pretty big target. You're not going to really sneak up on people with the horse unless, of course, the sandstorm has rolled in. That's when the horse is at its prime. So if you've been playing on the horse and you're not really enjoying it, or you're just getting killed a lot, try it out when the sandstorm rolls in, get out your scimitar and start slicing and dicing. Also, a tip for pro pilots out there, from what I hear, you can capture E point from the air if you can turn your plane fast enough. This point is very far removed from the rest of the map, so chances are you can circle around the flag without having to worry too much about enemy fire. And this would be a good way to not only get capture points, but to take points off of the map that are really far removed from infantry. Now, once you start messing around with some of the new guns and gadgets, you might also notice that you can replace the ammo packs and health packs with ammo boxes and health boxes that work just like they did in Battlefield 4, but by default, I don't believe they're equipped, and you might want these instead of the standards. Now, there's going to be a lot more cool stuff that we learn from this beta, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on any cool tips and tricks that I learn along the way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and more importantly, I hope it gives you a good leg up when you first get into the beta. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing out.